I'll tell you what, as far as I remember, when I went to school, you had to get a measles vaccine, you had to get a mumps vaccine, there was a ton of them you got.
You still have to. In order to go to school, you have to have certain vaccines.
When are we going to stop putting up with the idiots in this country and just say, it's mandatory to get vaccinated? Freedom. I want my freedom to live. I want to get out of the house already. I want to go next door and play chess. I want to go take some pictures.
So that was Howard Stern returning and immediately making news with his F your freedom, I want the freedom to live argument, which of course, many people have been making similar sorts of arguments, but he does hold this sort of unique position in his ability to communicate to a certain type of person. So what did you make of the argument that Howard Stern was making there?
Never really been a huge fan of Howard Stern, but I'm definitely a huge fan of that clip because it is the expectation that we should be patient with the level of ignorance that has gotten 700,000 people killed. That's blowing me away, right? And I'm so glad that someone with a platform large enough really said what needed to be said, which was, well, what he said.
I ask you questions. Does this make me sound stupid? I mean, I've never really listened to Howard Stern, but it feels kind of like, I can't wait to be mocked in the chat. It feels kind of like he was sort of in a Joe Rogan type position. Is that stupid?
No, because before you even said it, I put it in my, and again, it's like Joe Rogan, like sometimes you listen to him, sometimes you laugh. But at least on this one, Howard Stern is coming out swinging in the right direction.
Yeah, and I think, look, I don't know. It would be really interesting to get like a poll of his viewers, like whether they are vaccinated or whatever. But he's being honest. That's his job, is to just be honest about it. And we have as a society done a whole lot to respect the wishes and interests and whinings of people who are trying as hard as they can to endanger themselves and others. Like, we really have, there's very little requirements on people that don't want to give a damn about this. Like what we announced earlier, the Biden administration is going to require some executive department or executive branch employees to be vaccinated, but you're still, the odds that you as an individual will be required to be vaccinated are still virtually nil at this point. This far into yet another wave with 1,500 people dying on average a day, we're still, I think, just very understanding to people who are not at all understanding towards us.
Too much so, John, too much so. Like we honestly, we gotta do what Howard Stern said there and cut my camera off.
He did say that. We didn't play that part of the video, but he did say that. Anyway, there was a second part of this, and I really wanted to make sure that we got to this video because I have a feeling that that Ben, who's currently experiencing a blackout, is gonna have a lot of thoughts about this. So in this section, Howard Stern talks about the number of right-wing radio hosts that have tragically passed away as a result of COVID-19.
But it's really funny when the radio guys are the best. There were like 4 of them died. 4 of them who were like ranting on the air, they will not get vaccinated. They were on fire, these guys. It was like day after day, they were all dying. And then their dying words are, I wish I had been more into the vaccine. I wish I had taken it.
I have trouble drumming up compassion, and I think that's a terrible thing, to not be able to drum up compassion for people that stupid that they wind up dying.
Where do I have that clip of that Mark Bernier guy, the guy who died? Oh, I got it. Here it is. This is the guy, I'm not getting the vaccine. That's the guy who died.
That's a great question, and we were going to talk about that as far as the vaccine goes. What about you?
Yeah. I'm not taking it.
Come on.
Are you kidding me, Mr. Anti-vaxx? Cheapers.
Ever?
Cheapers.
No.
Anti-vaxx, Mr. Anti-vaxx.
And he died?
Yeah, he's dead.
So that is where, man, he really is not pulling any punches there. Like, I don't know. Anyway, I thought that Ben, that might strike a chord with you.
Yeah, I do my very best to be a good human, John, and I don't revel in the demise of anyone. But when you consider the amount of people who died because of the kind of advice they got from people like Phil Valentine, one of the radio hosts that died, he wrote a book called The Conservative's Handbook, and I had a chance to read it. Smart guy, wrong side of the equation, and I can't believe that he believed his own BS enough to die from it. I feel for their families, but I am not upset that level of ignorance is no longer on the air.
Yeah, I try to be a good person too. I try to show that you can be an atheist and you can still live a life that's is driven by empathy and curiosity and all that blah blah blah. But I hate the effect that they almost certainly had on their audience before they passed. Now, look, I will give some credit to the ones who publicly in their final days turned and said, I should have taken it seriously. But the reason I give them that credit is because not every one of them has. Some have gone to their grave with their friends and families saying, no, they still thought that this was made up, that COVID's not a real thing. That's madness to me. And I might feel a little bit bad even for them, like they're influencers to a certain extent, but they can still be influenced. If they actually didn't get vaccinated, they clearly were misinformed by others, but that said, they still have a responsibility to their audience. All of us, no matter the size of our platform, if we are advocating for something or advocating against something, we are responsible for those that we persuade. But he's not having it, Howard Stern.
Not at all.
So it'll be interesting to see what else he has to say about that. Any other thoughts about Howard Stern? Do you think that it might get through to anyone? Might encourage anyone in like the New York area? And I know he has a very broad reach to get vaccinated.
I certainly believe so. I certainly hope so, and I hope he does it every day until this pandemic is over.
Yeah, I hope so too. Look, I still maintain some stupid naive hope that Joe Rogan will take it seriously. I thought that maybe he wouldn't pull a Trump, get COVID, and come out of it even more, sure that ivermectin saved him or whatever. But unfortunately, that's the direction he's going in. I get there are people who are nothing but contrarians effectively, and so you got to moderate your expectations. But there's still time, perhaps, and the stakes are very high. A lot of lives could be saved if he were to take it seriously.
For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/thedamagereport. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.